The next stop will be University City Boulevard Station.
Welcome to University City's podcast, where we discuss all things University City. This podcast is brought to you by the City of Charlotte, Truist Foundation, and University City Partners. It's recorded at the beautiful office space of One University Place by the lake here in University City. Hey, this is Keith Stanley with University City Partners. Today we're at One University Place here in University City, focusing on small business for our University City podcast. I'm excited because we have some great partners that allow us to make this happen. I want to give a quick shout out to the City of Charlotte with their small business grant, allowing us to focus on small business, but also the Truist Foundation, the University City Partners team, and of course the City of Charlotte. With that said, we're going to hop right on into this great conversation. I have a guest here that I've had the opportunity to meet on several times. He has one of the coolest spaces in University City. With that, Cal, can you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Keith. My name is Calstain Ganda, born and raised in Zimbabwe, and I've been living in the U.S. for about 26 years. Of those 26 years, 21 in the University City area, so I'm proud to be part of this community.
So you know about University City.
I do. Both my kids were born across the street at the hospital.
At Atrium, shout out to Atrium.
That's correct. Both were born across the street, and my daughter also attends UNC Charlotte. She's going to be a junior this year.
Go Niners.
I know, right? Yep. And I also live just 8 minutes from here, so I consider myself a University City resident.
Man, you are university through and through. Same thing here. I'm university. I'm right here too. Cal, let's talk about the real African Art Gallery. Let's tell us about your business. How did you get started, and what people need to know about this wonderful business?
Thank you, Kit. So as I mentioned, I'm born and raised in Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe as a country means house of stone. So what you see in the gallery is predominantly stone sculptures, and this was an inspiration of where this all started. But with the gallery itself, I created this as a venture that I was trying to support my fellow Zimbabwean friends that were on hard times. My mother is a big inspiration in this entire venture. She's late now. Throughout her entire life, she would support a number of people. Many orphans came through that house, and when she passed away, I felt the need to try to support the community as well. And for these guys that I'm representing, this is their lifeline, this is their livelihood, and having a chance to showcase my own culture and heritage while supporting my people was quite the drive in the gallery being established.
Cal, I am fascinated by this business model. There's a part of me that would think that here in the United States, that this business model would just be everywhere, that we create an enterprise where people with their hands are creating wonderful artwork or purses or other material, and we have places and spaces, not just here in University City, but throughout this country, to showcase and sell. To me, it would be a market for it. For you, you said your inspiration were the people that you were working with. Why don't you think this is more common to see this? I mean, I can't think of any other business in Charlotte that has this model.
Sure.
Why is that?
It's a very interesting point. I think in today's world, the use of our own hands to make things is something that's somewhat gotten away. It's a personal perspective. But if I take a look at my upbringing, being born and raised in Zimbabwe, in most cases, people have to do those things because the access to means, like for example, you can just call an Uber and go where you want to go. Well, people walk 4 or 5 miles easily. People have gardens in the back of their yard because they have to eat. And oftentimes they have to do those things because they have no other choice. So I think for me to envision something where people could use their hands and reward them for their hard work was something else natural.
How do you go about curating, sourcing, when you're looking for artists? How does that work?
So as I mentioned, the core of the gallery is stone sculptures, and I would say about 80% of those are coming 5 miles from where I'm born and raised. So usually I would take a trip or two per year where I go home, take a look at what the artists are working on. I also have a team on the ground back in Zimbabwe that oftentimes they'll walk around and take images and send them over to me. And based on that, I give them feedback on what we like. And I also listen to our customers. There are certain pieces that customers will say, hey, look, I like that piece, but if it was this or that, and I tell the artist what the customer feedback is, and they go to work.
How long has the gallery been open?
I opened the gallery January 2021, so we are 3.5 years in the space.
Now, I have to ask you this. What has been the reaction with your gallery opening here in University City and, quite frankly, for Charlotte?
As you mentioned earlier, you don't see what we have around. So most people, when they come in the space, they actually are impressed. They recognize it's very unique. And as you know, everything we have in the gallery is one of one. So there's no duplicates. There's no, and it's very unique as you've been there and you've seen it. And most people, quite frankly, are fairly impressed with the setup that we have.
I would say commercial here, it is a beautiful space. We've held an event. I think there's been several University City Partners events there, but it's just a wonderful event. We held an event last year, and the space is it's the backdrop to have a space where people can come together is absolutely amazing. And Cal did a wonderful job as a host.
Thank you.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about partnerships and collaborations. Who have you worked with, or would you like to work with in University City or in Charlotte?
Sure. I've been very fortunate to get support from other local businesses. I've also had a chance to partner with academia. So, for example, I partnered last year through University City Partners. We had a partnership with UNC Charlotte. Actually, last year for the entire month of April, my entire upstairs, all the art on the wall were students from UNC Charlotte. We partnered with Sharon View Credit Union. As I mentioned, UNCC, Charlotte Art League, and these students were teaching them if they ever choose to go into the business of selling art, what it entails. It was a very big honor, and as I mentioned, we hosted the students and their families, and afterwards, I took everything else down in my gallery upstairs, and it was nothing but students' work.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I'm so glad University Partners played a small role in that. I also want to go in a different direction. You talk about these partnerships. We mentioned UNC Charlotte and University City Partners. Have you been able to work in the corporate space? Do you see corporate institutions either buying or even showcasing your art?
We would like to get more into getting more corporations buying the art. That's also one area we got to find ways to appeal to them. But we've also used the space for corporate events. So, for example, in my full-time job, I work for Continental. We've hosted their Black employees for their receptions a couple of times. Siemens Energy. We've also displayed art, TIAA, just across the street.
Shout out to TIAA.
Absolutely. And we've had other companies that we've hosted in the gallery, but not always within the university area. But I'm always looking for those partnerships. And to your point earlier, finding opportunities to have more corporations display our art, this will be great.
One opportunity I'm pretty excited about, and we're not for sure if this podcast will be released before, the recording will be released before, but we are hosting our inaugural Juneteenth Art Fest coming up June 19th. One of the only celebrations in the city of Charlotte is actually on June 19th. That's that Wednesday here around the lake. And we're hoping people can come. And we know that African Art Gallery will be there. We're going to make sure it happens somehow. I know that we got some emails and things going. I am looking forward to it.
It's done, and we're looking forward to it. So
that is so good to hear.
It's a day that I take off every year, so it's a day that I dedicate to that cause, and I'm looking forward to have that moment.
Man, I appreciate that, Cal. I know we don't have too long. I got a couple more questions for you. One, let's talk about some of the highlights, but also some of the challenges as being a business operating here in Charlotte. What are some of the highlights or some of the positive, but what are some of the challenges you deal with?
Overall, as I mentioned, when people do work in the space, it's a good affirmation that we've done a decent job in laying this space out. People have also been very, let's say, complimentary of the value of what we bring. Most people will say, look, it looks so beautiful and it looks so nice. I thought it'd be so expensive, and it's not. So those are positive elements. But on the challenges side, we've not been so successful in getting many people to know about us. There are days in that gallery where we may only see 2 or 3 people in an entire day. So finding ways to get people to know about us, things we are doing now, getting a chance to get the business out there, these will be elements we want to work on to try to bring those lowlights to be highlights.
University City, when I first got here, people talked about University City, and they begin to talk about this burgeoning creative art space. I'm wondering, have you been able to connect with artists here in University City or connect with the art community so they're receptive to your business?
Yes, so I've had an opportunity or two to host local artists. For the most part, what I'm featuring is art coming all the way from home in Africa. But I've had a few partnerships where we have resident artists that will come in the gallery for a period of time. And we've also been able to host spoken word artists that will come in the gallery, bring us some traffic, and they can also use the space for such events. But I'm always looking for opportunities. So for those others out there listening to us, if you have an idea or you have a concept, you're in the art space, reach out. We are always looking for chances, opportunities to collaborate.
This is amazing. I know we're wrapping this up. How do people find you? I know you got some social media presence, and
Sure.
First of all, the location, but then the social media.
Yes, so let's begin by the location. We are in the heart of the University City, across the street from you.
That's right.
And oftentimes I would say if you think of Harris Boulevard, North Tryon, those are main arteries of this city, and we are on the corner of that. In the business park that we are in, there's Ashley's Home Furniture. That's probably one of the biggest, let's say, locations people will know about. We share the same parking lot with Ashley Home Furniture. As far as our presence, social media-wise, easy to remember, Real African Art. That's one word. I think we use that for our handle for Instagram and also for Facebook. Location, if address 440 East McCullough, Suite A111, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28262.
I am, Cal, as a person who's still learning so much about Charlotte, in particular, University City, one of the highlights for me has been the Real African Art Gallery, and it just inspired me. The business model itself, your story. I got to hear your story on some other podcasts, and it's just great to know that you have this vision, and we're going to support you as much as we can, and we value your partnership and understand what the value add you bring to this community. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Keith. I appreciate that.
I would say that I don't think there's any other place that can say they have a place like this in Charlotte. University City is home to one of the coolest art spaces in I'm gonna say North Carolina.
Thank you very much. And I did look again. I did spend time looking around, and I am not a guy that's full of himself, but I oftentimes say it's not about arrogance, but confidence. And I can confidently say it would be hard to find a place like ours.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the University City Partners Podcast. We are a city within a city. Follow us on social media.